All right, Beyond the Gates fans, this is season 1, episode 7. Hey, as I said before, I won't always watch episodes live, but I will have my reviews up before the next episode comes out. So, once again, season 1, episode 7. Now, before diving into the actual review, a couple things. Number one, I made a mistake in my last review. When Leslie revealed her real name, it is Dana. I think I kept saying Danny when referencing Dana. So Leslie, who is Eva's biological mom, not surrogate, that is a cover story, her true name is Dana. But the thing is, Ted from way back when only knows her as Leslie. So, my bad. And on top of that, just thank you. I was reading the comments on my episode 6 review. I love that this show is being well received, just not from the content I do, but apparently it broke some sort of ratings record recently on CBS, which is pretty cool. So it looks like Beyond the Gates is off to a very strong start, and I couldn't be happier. And I think this is a interesting contrast because for the number of people who say my commentary as sisters is negative, if you want something more positive, like this is the Jeremy I know, come over to watch my other Beyond the Gates content, because when the show is actually good and it doesn't have a lot of stuff for me to just talk about in terms of slow pacing, characters getting victories they don't earn, things like that, Beyond the Gates and to an extent the Oval, check out that content. But before getting into the review, make sure you take a moment to like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and hit that bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. And yeah, the link to my Twitter or X is in the description box. And when I do watch the episode live, I typically live tweet. So if you want to follow me over there or Instagram, go ahead and do so. Now, at this point, this is an interesting episode because Haley is starting to realize, and this is just strange to me though, she's starting to realize that she got more than she bargained for when she married Bill. Which is strange because in the last episode, before they got married on the spot, he said, look, what you just saw is kind of a little taste of what it's like living in my world. So are you sure you want to get involved with that? And she's like, I don't want anything more. But then this episode, it's like she's second guessing everything and, trying to tell Bill to let things go. And it's like, so clearly you do not know this man as well as you think you do. So what was it in episode 2? I couldn't help it. I fell in love with an inconvenient man. And as Nicole told her, now you have to deal with the inconvenient consequences. Don't you see how this works? So given how there's some trouble in paradise in this episode and they just got married, yeah, I don't think that Bill and Haley are going to last for too much longer. So Haley doesn't want Bill to go to the press conference, but Bill doesn't want Danny to get off scot-free because he knows that the Duprees will say or do whatever it takes to protect one of their own. And I get it. Haley wanted to let Danny get a victory after hitting her in the face at the country club, but I'm with Bill in that, yeah, after the stunt she pulled, there is no way she's going to get off of this scot-free. So they have a little back and forth, and she doesn't want Bill to leave her alone on their wedding night. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think leaving on your wedding night is a good call. But given the circumstances, this isn't like Bill being selfish. This is like Bill saying, no, we need to nip this in the bud right now, or Danny's just going to keep thinking she can get away with this stuff. And Haley, Danny told you to your face after Bill took the gun from her that she's not done yet, meaning that she's going to keep coming back, allegedly. But I just feel like Haley is being way too passive given the circumstances of, what's going on. So we go over to the country club, and the video is just, man. So everybody's looking at their phones and giving updates because the video has gone extremely viral right now. And given the circumstances of I think Anita's looking at the grandmothers of group on social media, and they're talking about, I can't believe a Dupree would, do something like this. And then I think Smitty said on one platform it's already over 3 million views, and the list goes on and on and on. And for some reason, Kat was giving Chelsea a hard time, which was pretty messed up. Like, your cousin did not do this on purpose. I mean, she does apologize later in the episode, but that felt like a line that didn't need to be there, because it's like, literally, like, come on now. But Vernon takes a moment to say, no. I like how Vernon took charge in this episode, though. He's like, no, we came here to stand in front of, this social media firestorm, not to be involved with it. Because, yeah, this post is not going to, I mean, look, it's insane. It's insane that it got the numbers it did in such a short amount of time. Like, this live stream was getting Cat Williams on Club Shay Shay numbers. And Nicole actually wants to speak. Like, Vernon wanted to just get up there and say what, he wanted to say. But Nicole's like, look, I'm her sister, and, I'm a psychiatrist. So I feel like maybe I can do something to kind of, tell the story from a perspective of Danny being pushed to, doing what she did. But Vernon just decides he's going to take the lead. Now, when the press shows up, they're just getting to the point, because I get it. It's like, look, we saw the video. Everybody has seen the video. So don't sugarcoat it. Like, look, if you want something to be sugarcoated, open a box of cereal and pour a bowl of Frosted Flakes. We want the truth. Bill and Haley's wedding was interrupted by his ex-wife pulling out a gun. And I love how Vernon's like, oh, yes, and how are you? How was your newborn baby? Like, trust and believe this conference won't go on for too long. That way you can go back to your families. And I love how Vernon is trying to keep a composed demeanor, but the press just wants to get to it. And, I mean, that's how it is. So, in the midst of him trying to give an explanation, Danny shows up, because everybody's like, well, if your daughter, didn't, just go crazy or whatever, where is she right now? So she does show up, and, Anita comes up to the stand, because, like, Vernon, you could tell, as much as he's trying to keep composed, the reporters are pretty relentless with their questions, which, again, you can't blame him, because he's just dancing around the subject. So Anita steps up and slams Bill, because she mentions all the times, well, basically, their family is very private, so it's rare anything like this ever comes out to the public. So, unbeknownst to the general public, they don't know what Bill has done to push Danny to this point, which begs the question of, so what? I mean, look at the dang footage. But then Danny actually steps up to the podium. And remember, her parents didn't even want her to show up, but she comes up to the stand, and she essentially falls on the sword. That way her family doesn't take the heat. Like, look, I did what I did. I made my choices. She apologizes to her parents. She apologizes to her daughters. Tells Chelsea not to feel any guilt whatsoever about the live stream, because you had no idea what I was about to do. And in the midst of, Danny wanting to, address the situation, Bill and Haley show up, and it's like, uh-oh. So then Bill decides to get up there and talk about how, you know what? I've let them speak their piece. Now it's time to speak mine. The fact that Danny has been pulling all sorts of antics over the past couple of days, from physically assaulting my wife, disfiguring her face. And I don't even think he mentioned, like, coming to my office and threatening me with my golf club and slapping me in the face and, all kinds of stuff. But he does mention, like, you know what, whatever she wants to throw it in our direction, throw it at me, but I will not tolerate her threatening my wife ever again. So before Bill can go any further, Vernon shuts down the entire conference. And after that, you have Danny, who wants her father to call the police, because, she just wants to deal with the situation. But it turns out that there will be no charges, because Vernon talks about how, oh, yes, the chief of police, me and him are going to play golf tomorrow. We know each other pretty well. And it's like, oh, okay, well, apparently there's no grounds for any charges here. So nobody was hurt. And like you said during the conference, it was a registered firearm and everything. So we're good to go. Now, after that, Nicole and Danny have a moment together, and Nicole does recommend a therapist. Like, look, I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm not saying you need to talk to any of us. Like, get somebody who has an unbiased opinion. But, Danny, you do need to talk with somebody to deal with these inner demons. Now, from there, Vernon and Bill exchange words with, Bill rightfully pissed off that yet again the Duprees were able to flaunt their name around and get out of a situation. Like, look, yeah, he's low down. Bill truly is. But at the same time, bro had a gun pulled on him. Yeah, I'd be pissed off if the person who did that to me got off without any consequences either. So Vernon just straight up wants to say, look, this whole tit for tat game you and Danny have, you need to put it into it now. It's like, oh yeah, we'll be into it when I get my get back. So where is Danny anyway? And she's over at the bar area. And this was probably my favorite scene of the episode, which explains more about how she and Bill got to the point that they are right now. I believe she's remembering the night of Jacob and Naomi's wedding. Her and Bill get home, and Bill reminisces about when they first got together, and he talks about how he regrets and feels guilt for making Danny halt her career, put her entire life on hold in order to take care of him, to help him build his company, well, aka his law firm and whatnot. She's like, oh no, Daddy did a lot of that. No, it was you, because you put your career on hold, all the runways and magazine shoots and whatnot, and you stayed home to take care of me and raise our children. And what I want right now is to let you know that the next chapter of our lives, I'm going to spend it making sure you never have any regrets for giving up what you did, because I'll make every day just magical for you, and I promise. So yeah, it's moments like this where I can see why Danny felt so betrayed, considering the circumstances of it being an empty nest, Naomi being gone for years and now married, Chelsea, all constantly on trips doing, modeling gigs. So it's just the two of them. So now Bill had the time to reflect. So it's moments like this that I could see Danny replaying in her head over and over again, just trying to figure out, where did they go wrong? Where did they go wrong? And I did like the little bit of character where Bill has always been Bill, because I think Danny figured out that during the during the ceremony, Bill convinced the priest or whoever was officiating the wedding to not say who gives this woman away. But that just shows that he always finds a loophole. That's pretty much how he is, and it's pretty consistent. But after having that memory, we see that Danny texts Andre. But speaking of which, Alex actually names her baby Ashley Andre. And that was really touching, because these two are still just caught up in the rush of what happened on that elevator. So after that, you have the trainer. I forgot her name, but I'm just going to call her Ashley's trainer. The nosy nurse. That's it. The nosy nurse. And she sends Ashley home because of the fact that she needs to rest. Like, Ashley's still on a emotional high, given the circumstance and excitement of delivering the baby and whatnot. So she also just kind of talks about how, oh wow, isn't it great you had these two handsome men in your lives. And I love how there were a bunch of nonverbal moments, like when Ashley and Derek kissed, the nurse noticed how Andre was looking, and whenever, like, let's say Andre or Ashley made a certain look at each other, Derek felt kind of like out of sorts, because even the nurse, the trainer was like, oh yeah, it's like, you got a photographer, and then you had a nurse just had a great time with the baby. It's like, yeah, it's like Andre did a great job, because he made sure that Alex didn't know, like, I'm a new nurse and I never delivered a baby before, and this is my first week. And it's like, no. It's like, she really kept her head in the game, and I was just there for support, and they really work well together. So Derek, was proud of Ashley, but at the same time, you could tell he was worried that, okay, are these two closer than they seem to be? But from there, he's like, yeah, and Andre, you just so happen to be at the hospital, right? But then the trainer makes it clear, like, oh yeah, well, he has a bunch of familial ties to the hospital, with his uncle being, a renowned plastic surgeon, I believe, and his aunt being a therapist here, so psychiatrist. So it wasn't like Andre was just there to stalk Ashley. But regardless, Ashley goes home and Andre goes his own way, and Derek just says no sex because he could tell she's exhausted. And before they get intimate, she tries to drag him to the bed, but then she yawns and then she takes off her, nurse uniform. And it's like, oh, that's not fair. But he does end up leaving, and then she goes to sleep. But it turns out that Danny texted Andre, and he got a text when he was on his way home. And he turns around. It's like, oh yeah, I got the text, said let myself in. She has a trench coat. She throws it down, and then they get busy. But they do have a conversation later on, because it's like, so what happens? I thought it was just a one night stand. Oh, a woman can't change your mind. So from there, she reveals that, did you not see what I did today? It's like, wait, what? You've been under a rock? Something like that. Well, if you want to know about what I did, you can just check out the viral video of me trying to blow away my ex-husband at his wedding. And he mentions that, wait, what, are you serious? Look, I got this thing, I'm attracted to danger, but you need to chill with the wild side. It's like, I know. But so what are you doing now? So are you on the run? Are you in hiding? No, Daddy took care of everything. Wait, what does a civil rights activist, how is he able to clean something up like this? And Danny said something that was pretty baller. Well, back in the day, Daddy used to be afraid of the cops, but now the cops are afraid of him. And I'm like, whoa. That line just holds so much weight. I feel like that probably went over a lot of people's heads, but that was a bar. So from there, she said that, don't worry, I'll be a good little Dupree from now on. And even if it kills me, I feel like that's a line we should not ignore. But just a couple other things to talk about before we wrap up the review. That's the fact that earlier in the episode, Smitty and Martin kind of go off to the side of the country club, and Smitty caught on to Vernon and Anita, saying something without saying anything at all. Because I think when Martin addressed Danny in terms of her, built up rage and whatnot, Vernon and Anita made a look at each other, and then Martin is like, wait, so what, are you just love the drama my family's going through? No, it's just like, I know that sometimes people speak without speaking anything at all. Well, they've been married for sometimes, and sometimes a look says a lot. I mean, we know that ourselves. But it's in reference to Smitty, who used to be like a reporter or journalist. So it's like, yeah, if I were, an investigator or a cop, like, who came in here to talk with your grandfather, I would have been pressing him further in terms of whether or not he truly knew the chief of police, or was that just a blanket statement to try to get me to, feel comforted and like, oh, well, nothing really happened. Because Martin does remind him, like, well, your job now is to raise our kids. So yeah, you can tell Smitty feels unfulfilled in his current life with Martin, because kind of like with Bill, Martin probably made Smitty give up his prior career to be, a supportive partner to his greater ambitions. And in reference to the built up rage and whatnot, Smitty could be catching on to the fact that Martin's repressed memories and nightmares could be in relation to something that his family is, hiding. So Smitty might be the person to figure out exactly what's going on. So I find that pretty interesting when you think about it from that perspective. And in reference to Chelsea, Kat does apologize for, giving her a hard time earlier, but she just wants to completely unplug, which is understandable, because thankfully her family, including her mom, made it clear it wasn't her fault about what went down in terms of it going viral. But, Chelsea felt like, I just need to stop being in front of my camera as much, or phone as much as I am. But the thing is, Kat reminds, like, after everything you built and what we're trying to do with the purse line and everything, you can't just unplug. I get it though. It's completely understandable. But she just says, look, just stop blaming yourself. Now, the last thing to talk about here is Bill and Haley, because once they get back from the press conference, Bill is trying to reassure her, like, look, there's no more drama. You don't have to worry about Danny anymore. But then Haley's upset that he even went to the press conference, was like, well, look, you came too because you're the one who said you didn't want to be left alone. Well, what about what I want? And it's just like, Haley, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. Because I think she overheard Bill talking with Mike something in regards to a wrongful death suit. And, I mean, look, crime and law stuff, it never ends. I feel like she's really going to find out who Bill is. She is. Now, she's just a nervous wreck because apparently now Danny is paranoid Haley's paranoid because Danny is living in her head rent free. Yeah. And then she is mad at Bill for inviting the Duprees to the wedding in the first place. So there's that aspect of it. And I don't blame her for that because Bill went behind her back and then pulled some strings, aka blackmail, in order to do it. So yeah, that is really on him. And he does say, like, look, you know what? Just sit here, hold my hand. We'll take it slow and we'll go into our new lives together. I promise you, everything is going to be okay. So yeah, trouble in paradise. These two aren't going to make it. Something's going to go down. So she's talking about how I'm not a fighter and whatnot. I'm not able to just go from 10 to a 2. Like, you're able to bounce back from what happened at the wedding and then want to get romantic. I can't do that. I wonder if they're still going to Italy now. So it's like, is that thrown off everything or what? But we'll just have to wait and see. But regardless, folks, this was a pretty solid episode. 10 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Hopefully episode 8 later today will be good. I might watch it live. We'll see. It depends on how much I get done between now and when the episode drops. But like I said, if I don't watch it live and I'm not live tweeting, I will watch the episode on Paramount Plus and get the review up before the next episode airs. So thanks so much for tuning in. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.